Hello everybody, my name is Sarah and welcome back to Future Zoologist Academy. Today, for our lesson, we'll be discussing an incredible group of birds. And these birds happen to be very large, very loud, and very colorful. Today, we're learning all about macaws, an incredible group of parrots. Let's get into it. Macaws are a group of large, colorful parrots with at least 17 different species, though some scientists do describe 19 different species. All macaws are found in South America and the southern part of North America, and we typically find them in places like tropical rainforests where they hang out way up high in the canopy, though there are a few species of macaws who prefer to hang out in a more open woodland instead. Macaws are very well known for their large size and vibrant colors. They're among the largest of all of the parrot species. The hyacinth macaw is the largest macaw species, and they measure 3 feet in length from the tip of their head to the tip of their tail. Now, while the hyacinth macaw might be mostly blue in color, many other macaws have a series of bright colors across their entire bodies. The iconic scarlet macaw is mostly red, but also has yellow and blue on the wing, whereas the military macaw is mostly green, but also has blue and red on their wings as well. Now, scientists hypothesize that these bright colors that macaws have may actually have a purpose. So I want to give you a moment to pause the video and make a hypothesis. Why do you think macaws have these bright, beautiful colors? Okay, are you ready? Scientists have 2 main hypotheses as to what these bright, beautiful colors are really used for. Their first hypothesis is that maybe the bright colors are used to attract a mate. And we see this in many beautifully colored birds, that how bright and vibrant their colors are might signal strength or health and be more attractive to potential mates. Now, the other hypothesis is that these bright, beautiful colors might actually be used to help macaws camouflage. The rainforest is filled with bright, vibrant colors: green leaves, colorful fruit, brightly colored tree bark, and the bright colors that macaws have might blend in very nicely with the rest of these bright colors in the rainforest. Scientists also believe that the patchy colors on some macaws might actually be disruptive coloration, a type of camouflage that helps to break up the outline of the animal and make it harder for a predator to pick them out when hunting. And this is especially helpful for macaws when they're flying together in a flock. Aside from their large size and bright colors, macaws are also very well known for that enormous, sharp, hooked beak that they have. And their beak does actually have a couple different purposes. They almost use it like a hook-like hand when climbing around on tree trunks and tree branches. But of course, like most birds, the main purpose of their beak is for eating. What exactly a macaw likes to eat does depend on what kind of macaw we're talking about and where they live. But for the most part, macaws primarily feed on nuts and seeds. And because nuts and seeds are produced by plants, we do typically consider macaws to be herbivores or plant eaters, but we do like to give them a name that's a little bit more specific. Nuts and seeds are often described as grains, and animals who eat primarily nuts and seeds are often called granivores. That sharp beak that macaws have is perfect for breaking open and cracking apart the hard shell that many nuts and seeds in the rainforest are trapped inside of. Now, because of their diet, some species of macaws are considered to be seed dispersers, meaning they take seeds and they spread them around the environment. Macaws who eat very small seeds may be able to spread seeds around in their waist as they fly around the environment and poop. But some species, like the hyacinth macaw, have even been seen dropping seeds from their beak or their claws as they're traveling around the forest. Now, even though most of their diet is nuts and seeds, they do often eat things like fruits and flowers and sometimes even small animals like insects. Many of the nuts and seeds that macaws eat contain toxins that can actually damage a macaw's stomach. So to help neutralize these toxins, many species of macaws have been seen eating clay. And clay can naturally be found especially along the edge of rivers, and when the river drops during the dry season, this clay becomes exposed and becomes the perfect spot for macaws to go get some. Now, whether they're perched on a tree branch eating nuts and seeds or clinging onto the edge of a cliff eating clay, it's very important that macaws are able to grip whatever they might be standing on, and they have very special feet that allow them to do this. Macaws have zygodactyl feet, which means their two middle toes face forward and their two toes on the side face backward. And they make these perfect pinchers that are great for grasping. And they don't just come in handy when they're grasping onto a branch or a tree trunk or the edge of a cliff. Those feet also work like hands, and they can use their feet to grab onto their food while they're eating. Now, when they're traveling around the forest looking for food, we typically don't find macaws alone. During the breeding season, we often see them with their mate, so we'll see 2 at a time in a pair. And after the breeding season, we usually either see them in small family groups or sometimes even larger flocks, especially when there's plenty of food available. Communicating with their family groups in a rainforest can be tricky, but fortunately for macaws, they are quite loud. And they typically make a sound that's described either as a squawk or a scream, and especially when you live somewhere like a very dense rainforest where it can be hard to see each other, sound is often the best way for animals to communicate. You might hear macaws vocalizing at any time during the year, but especially during the breeding season. Macaws are monogamous, which means they only have one mate per breeding season, but macaws do take this a little bit further, and they usually have the same mate year after year, and some have even been observed mating for life. Most macaws typically make their nests in tree cavities, and this is where they'll go to lay 1 to 4 eggs depending on the species. And for most species, the female is the one who spends most of her time incubating the eggs, and males are responsible for going out and getting food for themselves and for the female. And once the eggs hatch, both the male and female participate in going out to get food to bring back for the chicks. It usually takes about 3 months for the chicks to fledge, to be ready to leave the nest, and afterward they'll usually stick around with their parents when feeding and roosting. To see a flock of macaws in the wild is truly an unforgettable experience, but unfortunately it is becoming less common over time because of 2 main threats. One of the main threats that macaws face is deforestation. The forest home that they rely on is being cleared, making it much harder for macaws to find food and nesting sites. The other main threat that macaws face in the wild is illegal collection by poachers to sell them as part of the illegal bird trade or the illegal pet trade. Fortunately, there are several organizations who are already working to protect macaws in the wild. Several organizations are working to purchase parts of the rainforest to protect it, to say you cannot come in here and cut down this part of the rainforest. It is mine, I own it, for the macaws. Many of these organizations are also placing artificial nest boxes so that the macaws have somewhere to go to reproduce and lay their eggs. Now, the poaching of parrots is where things get a little bit complicated. Poachers go in and take the macaws to sell to make money, to profit off of the macaws. So in order to prevent them from doing that, we have to find another way to offer them income, to offer them money. So what some organizations are doing are actually hiring poachers to be tour guides, to take people out into the wild, to teach them about macaws instead of them going out into the wild and taking the macaws and making money that way. Sometimes we forget when we're learning about conservation and how to protect the animals, we have to work with the local people in that area to make sure that they're getting what they need as well. All right, you guys, thank you so very much for joining me today for our lesson all about macaws. If you would like to learn more about their threats and conservation efforts, if you would like to do quizzes, activities, projects, please be sure to click that link below to visit our website, and I cannot wait to see you at our next lesson. Thank you very much.